Hey guys, Barky here with another Iceberg video. In this video we're going to be covering the rest of Tier 1 and all of Tier 2 of the Five Nights at Freddy's Iceberg, the ultimate Five Nights at Freddy's Iceberg, that is. So strap in, grab yourself another Coke Zero, and enjoy. If you didn't catch part 1, it's linked in the description. You can go ahead and check that out if you haven't. Alright, let's get started. OCS. Some fans of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise would create something called an OC, short for original character. They would usually just change the color of a specific character and then add a couple extra parts to it. And some Five Nights at Freddy's creators might not actually have an OC, but they could have in the past. One Night at Flumpty's. One Night at Flumpty's is an indie point-and-click horror fan game series developed by Jonachrome. Instead of it being 3D and using Chuck E. Cheese-like animatronics, it uses cartoon characters, one being an egg with arm and legs, and there are other varieties such as that. It is also more comedic in decorations around the office or building. Original Ultimate Custom Night poster. While Scott was developing Ultimate Custom Night, he posted teasers to show off the roster as he added characters to it. But fans noticed some weird characters popping up in the rosters, such as Candy Cadet and Adventure Indo 1. These were eventually replaced by Withered Chica and Withered Bonnie, which were fan favorites, which made fans to be more excited. There are also some characters that were split up into 2 character slots, such as Nightmare Freddy with the Freddys, and the Trash and the Gang. They were eventually combined together into single character slots to make space for more important characters. Pop Goes. This is a fan game which was created on June 26, 2016 and is now regarded as the second most popular FNAF fan game, behind Five Nights at Candy's, of course. It was originally formed on a subreddit called r/2124 and was later formed privately by an entire team of people as an official FNAF fan game. It is a fan game of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, and its story takes into account only the first 3 games of the series, the most famous developer of the series being Kane Carter. Purple Guy in the minigame sections. Purple Guy can appear in the minigame sections in different games. He can appear in the Go 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 minigame in FNAF 2, in which he kills 5 children who Foxy should have saved. He also appears in the FNAF 3 Death minigames, in which he dismantles each animatronic when they reach a blocked-off door. The most well-known minigame he appears in is the final minigame of FNAF 3, in which you play as a spirit and follow William until he climbs into a spare spring bonnie suit and dies. r/Five Nights at Freddy's. This is an official subreddit for the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. It is used for news and community posts, but developers for fan games like to post teasers. And Scott usually likes to post updates on games or developments. If you want your upcoming fan game or fan art to be seen by many people, just post it to the subreddit. Rare Screens. These are Easter eggs, which are unique pictures of a character or other thing. They are usually put in the games for lore, but some are not needed, such as the one of Molten Freddy, which was a random string of numbers over it, and nobody knows what it's used for. But some are more important, such as one of Lefty, which shows us that the puppet is inside Lefty. Another important one is the Sister Location minigames. It is framed as a platformer like Mario Bros, then having to go back to the beginning and see Elizabeth get scooped by a circus baby. Roblox and Minecraft remakes. People would try to remake the games in Roblox and Minecraft, and in Roblox, people would try to make their own version of the game or make a roleplay game to tailor to a specific game or just characters in general. And in Minecraft, people would just remake the maps from the games or go the extra mile and code something specific. Rule 34 art. When you have a fan base, there will always be people who will be into sexualizing the characters in the franchise that the fan base is a fan of. RWQFSFASXC. This is an Easter egg in FNAF 2. A black version of Toy Bonnie with glowing eyes and teeth will stand at the left side of your office. Staring at him will make your game crash. He appeared in FNAF World as one of the many playable characters. His most recent appearance was in FNAF AR, in which he guards the Remnant. Sanshi vs. Funko. This is a debate where people think either Funko is better at making FNAF merch or Sanshi is better at making FNAF merch. I mean, it's a weird debate. Most people say Sanshi is better because of their plushies looking more accurate to the in-game plushies and making merch which looks like it came straight out of the in-game universe, and Funko isn't the fan favorite mainly because of their Chica plush and Ballora plush. Sanshi's FNAF logo. For the merch Sanshi had manufactured, they created a logo for the franchise. You've most likely seen it. Each main character lined up at the top above the text Freddy Fazbear's Pizza with the tagline, "Where fantasy and fun comes to life." For the re-release of their FNAF plushies, they scrapped the original logo and used the more modern FNAF logo created by Scott. Scott Cawthon. Scott Braden Cawthon is the developer of the Five Nights at Freddy's series and many other games, which are based around Christianity. He has created a huge community on the internet, and children and adults alike. Scott retired somewhere around June 10th because of donating to, anti-LGBTQ stuff, thus has resided in Texas with his family. Scott's donations to live streams. When someone from the Five Nights at Freddy's community, usually Daco or MatPat, streams, it would be for a charity, such as St. Jude. Scott would usually come to the stream to donate a huge amount of money to the cause, but then he would just use the name Anonymous to keep himself hidden, and people usually clock in that it is him instantly. The highest he has been known to donate is $50,000. ScottGames.com. This was the site that Scott mainly used to upload teasers for the upcoming games. The logo on the site had been changed to many different vibrant colors or colored depending on the event, like Halloween, where it would go yellow and orange. Scott Games had a feud with the source code of the site FNAF World, Scott's secondary site, and right now both sites have gone dark. Security breach character leaks. Once Scott had allowed Funko to make Five Nights at Freddy's security breach merchandise, someone had leaked a sheet which contained the designs for the Glamrock animatronics and their names. People were obviously enraged by this and said that the anticipation for the release of FNAF Security Breach was ruined because of this incident. Security Breach delays. Security Breach was delayed many times for remodeling, fixing, editing, re-recording voice lines, and many other things. It had taken Steel Wool 2 full years to get Security Breach out to the public, which made people have low standards about the game as they weren't happy with the amount of time it took to release it. Security breach glitches. As we've seen from many gameplay videos, most prominently Markiplier's and Jacksepticeye's, Security Breach is extremely buggy. The thing that is most buggy is Glamrock Freddy as a whole. He can be seen T-posing, walking on air, and saying the wrong voice lines and just a host of other things. It's a disaster. Shadow Freddy. This is an Easter egg in FNAF 2 in which a purple or dark version of the Withered Golden Freddy can be seen in Withered Bonnie's position in Parts and Service. He then appears in FNAF 3 as he slumps against the left wall near the door. His most recent appearance is in FNAF World, where he is one of the many playable characters. In FNAF 2, when you look at him for too long, he will crash your game. Shared voice actors. Some characters in the franchise are voiced by the same voice actors, a good example being Kellen Goff, with him voicing Fredbear in Ultimate Custom Night and Funtime Freddy in Sister Location. Another being Joe Goddett, who voices Mr. Hippo, Funtime Foxy, and Rockstar Foxy, all in Ultimate Custom Night. Showtime songs and renders. In Help Wanted's files, you can find renders of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy singing. There's also a Showtime song compiled in with it. This is the first time that some of the characters got voice lines. These would play when you press the Showtime button, but the button was hidden in the game. Sparky the Dog. This is most likely the first Five Nights at Freddy's hoax. It was posted to Reddit back when Five Nights at Freddy's had its first blow-up, and it was of a supposed screenshot of a backstage camera but with an animatronic peeking through the crack of the door. It was of a dog animatronic, with you only being able to see its face in a small section of the right hand. It had become a community favorite. Squimpus McGrimpus VHS tapes. Squimpus McGrimpus has made some VHS-style videos in FNAF. It usually starts off normally and gets scarier and freakier the more you watch, his most iconic ones being the Night Security Training video and Fazbear Entertainment video manual. These have been reacted to by many different popular Five Nights at Freddy's YouTubers, and even some people who haven't played any of the games from the franchise but know of the phenomenon. stars. You can unlock stars by completing certain challenges in the FNAF games. You might be able to get them from beating Night 7, beating Nightmare, or whatever 20 mode, etc. These are obtainable in FNAF 1, 2, 3, 4, and Sister Location. As an extra piece of trivia, in FNAF 1 you can actually hold down CD1 to unlock the first star and CD2 to unlock the second star. Steel Wool versus Illumix. This is a debate in the community in which people think either Steel Wool Studios is better at making games or Illumix is better at it. People usually say Steel Wool because they can make a game for VR and mobile, Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted, and console, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. But people don't usually say Illumix because they can only make a FNAF game for a phone, but it's an AR game. Survive the Night. Survive the Night was a song created by Mando Pony in 2014 after FNAF 2's release. It's themed around FNAF 2, and many animations have been created around the song. Mando Pony has created many other popular and iconic FNAF songs, such as Just Gold and Balloons. The Box. At the end of FNAF 4's Night 8, the box can be seen for the first time in the franchise. The box remains locked with text above it. Now, according to Scott Cawthon, this was intended to be open at this time, but, however, it was scrapped as the fanbase failed to solve FNAF 4 in time. With the release of FNAF World, there was unused texture of the files of an open box, but with nothing inside of it, which shows that it was meant to be opened in FNAF World, but later scrapped for unknown reasons. Later, the box appeared in the alien form in Security Breach Fury's Rage, with the inside of the head having many different things from FNAF 4 inside of it. The Desolate Hope. The Desolate Hope is a game made by Scott, and this game is a Metroidvania boss game, top-down view shooter, and other types and stuff like that. It falls under a lot of different genres, like Metroidvania, boss game, top-down view shooter, and games like that. You can go around to a world taken over by robots and defeating different bosses throughout the game, and your character is a walking coffee pot who is famous enough to appear in FNAF World Update 2, and also was an Easter egg in Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted, once in the prize counter and another time in FNAF 3's game mode. Five Nights at Freddy's movie. This is a movie adaptation of the video game franchise Five Nights at Freddy's. It's being created by a movie studio called Blumhouse Productions, and they are also famous for Halloween, Happy Death Day, and The Purge. There have been many updates from the creator of the movie, and many people have created fake trailers and fake promotional posters to trick people into thinking it was released. But now we have a teaser trailer out, and it is coming out October 27th, 2023. I am very excited. The Five Nights at Freddy's Ride. This was a ride started by Sally Dark Rides, and it was going to be a ride in which you sat in a golf cart and got toured around the pizza place with a flashlight. Animatronics will jump scare you, and you need to deflect them with the flashlight. People think it has been cancelled as there have been no news about it for months as of May 2022. The Freddy Files. This is a series of books in which they would give you a breakdown of each game in the series except for FNAF World, and also a breakdown of the other books in the series. The second installment of the series, The Freddy Files Updated Edition, fell into some hot water as it had many errors and used renders made by fans and also included action figure heads. The Freddy Files Ultimate Guide fixed this by using Ultimate Custom Night mugshots. The Living Tombstone. This is the most popular FNAF music person who creates songs about FNAF. He has stopped creating songs now, with the most recent one being about Sister Location. Their song, Five Nights at Freddy's one song, The Living Tombstone, is the most popular Five Nights at Freddy's video on YouTube. The Walton Files. The Walton Files is a series of VHS tapes, which is a recording of a burger diner called Bond's Burgers. Is an alternate reality game set across YouTube, and it has its own website. It has managed to gain itself a popular audience, and some even in the FNAF community. The animatronics in the series are haunted by the souls of different central characters of the series, and have also haunted the tapes. Its lore is easier to understand from a newer perspective, and many fans compared it to the likeness of the Mandela catalog. This VHS series was also based around a FNAF fan game called Welcome to Bond's Burgers, where there are many YouTube videos explaining it better, so you can look those up. The Hottest Dog. The Hottest Dog made FNAF animations using Source Filmmaker. Many of them have been turned into some of the largest FNAF memes. He's also the most popular FNAF animator, said by the community. He has also created some of his own characters to use in his standalone series, his most popular video being FNAF SFM Lullaby by Dr. Steele. They've also animated some other dank memes. Tryhard Ninja. Tryhard Ninja is a person who creates many songs about different video games. He's most known for his Five Nights at Freddy's songs, his most popular one being It's Me, with over 50 million views. A lot of his songs are made into Minecraft music videos, such as Follow Me and Don't Come Crying. Vanessa and Vanny are separate people. This is neither confirmed or denied, but shown in endings that the person who is in the Vanny suit is similar to Vanessa. It is not confirmed that the person who is actually in the Vanny suit is Vanessa or not. Well, FNAF AR confirmed that Vanny had rainbow streaks in her hair, Vanessa's pure blonde, so it wouldn't add up. And the statue and the posters released by Funko show Vanny and Vanessa in the same room. It still could be a coincidence, but it could also mean something. Vincent. This is the name given to Purple Guy by fans before it was revealed to be William Afton and the Silver Eyes. Will Trap versus Mike Trap. This is a debate where people think either William is in the Springtrap suit or Michael is in it. People usually bring up the topic of the Final Cutscene sister location, and the most plausible option is William because of Scrap Trap's name and Ultimate Custom Night is William, but saying this would mean that the other Scrap animatronics would have the dead bodies' names as their names in Ultimate Custom Night, such as Scrap Baby as Elizabeth, Lefty as Charlie, and Michael isn't the fan favorite as there is barely any proof to him. Willy's Wonderland. This is a film that came out in 2021 which starred Nicolas Cage, who is also a producer. People were complaining that it was similar to FNAF as it was being set in a pizza place with killer animatronics, and some of the characters were even changed as they were too similar to actual FNAF characters, like Barry Bear being similar to Freddy, and Pirate Pete being similar to Foxy, and Regina Rabbit was too similar to Bonnie. Withered Balloon Boy and Marionette. These were edits created by someone called Fazboggle, in which they edited Balloon Boy and the Marionette into withered variants, and people were fooled by these and took them as Five Nights at Freddy's 3 leaks. The Withered Balloon Boy edit was so popular that the company Just Toys made it as an official dangler toy, and Fazboggle had created them not intended as leaks or to fool anyone, and they were created just for fun. Withered Freddy twerking. A clip commonly paired with a quirky phone call in which Withered Freddy twerks. That's it. Withered Freddy's eyebrow raise. In FNAF Trash Posts, or Trash Posts in general, some made an animation of Withered Freddy mimicking Dwayne Johnson's iconic eyebrow raise. The clip became quite popular and is usually paired with such sounds as the Vine thud sound effect. Yellow Bear. This was the original name that was in the files of Five Nights at Freddy's 1 before he was given the name from fans, more specifically from Markiplier. The name Yellow Bear was probably going to be used as a similar name to Freddy's original name Freddy Bear, as they bear a similarity with the word bear. Yendo. Yendo is an Easter egg in the 5th installment of the FNAF franchise sister location. It was an Easter egg which could rarely appear in the Funtime Auditorium while trying to stay away from the Funtime Foxy. Yendo is a duplicate endoskeleton model for another Funtime character, Funtime Freddy. The only thing that sets Yendo apart from Funtime Freddy is his golden eyes, which has led some fans to believe that there's actually a Funtime Fredbear animatronic. U2's merchandise. U2's has created merchandise for the franchise, and they have made many figures, and even figures for fan games such as Pop Goes or The Joy of Creation. And some FNAF YouTubers have gotten many FNAF-themed figures by U2's, such as Nightguard Daco or King of FNAF Markiplier. Plushies and pins were also created, but they're not as prominent as the figures. Tier 2. Now I'm going to kick your... I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. I don't know. In FNAF World Update 2's section on Foxy Fighters, there are 3 NPC protagonists which help the main protagonist, Foxy. One of these characters is Adventure JJ, who has many voice lines just like the other characters, and one of these was cut, however, in which the line said, "The entry, now I'm going to kick your behind. You're a booty, you're a butt." And then he says, "Wait, can I say that in the game?" you can't. This is a quote which can be paired along with the character William Afton. We can see this by it appearing in the minigames after William Afton slides into you. Many people don't actually know why this is being said, and most people believe it's being said because it means that you can't save the lost children's souls. 395248. This is a code in FNAF 3 which you need to enter into the tiles on the office wall to enter the Stage 01 minigame. There's an actual clever Easter egg behind this, a specific number. And this is actually a reversed hex code for the same purple as the purple guy sprite. And this wasn't discovered for some time, but when people found out, there wasn't a huge amount of attention. This was later forgotten until Help Wanted. And in Help Wanted, you can input the specific code to enter a coin for the prize counter. 5 a.m. at Freddy's. 5 a.m. at Freddy's was a series created and animated by Pymations, which used to make animatronics based off of different video games, but nowadays does original animations like Suction Cup Man, and these are notable in the series for being funny. There's not much to say besides that they are a piece of concept people universally enjoy. 8-Bit Ryan. 8-Bit Ryan is a FNAF YouTuber who is like Dako in some ways, as he does play a lot of FNAF fan games, but unlike Dako, 8-Bit Ryan is known for playing a wider range of games outside of just FNAF. He doesn't have as big of a tie to Scott as Dako does. Despite 8-Bit Ryan not being as popular in the FNAF community as Dako, he's still very well respected. Adult Theory. Okay, this one I'm going to have to censor a little bit, but you'll understand what I'm saying. A theory created by Kane Carter after the Sister Location trailer had released is Adult Theory. The theory itself states that the location in Sister Location is a club made for adult entertainment, and this was one of the most regarded theories at the time. However, pretty quickly when this theory came out, Reddit started to go crazy about it, and they started to say the animatronics were people who sell their bodies for money, and just being absolutely ridiculous. Of course, this wasn't real, but there was a lot of backup for this theory being true, since Ballora having mammary glands, and baby often being a term related to adult things. And this theory ended up getting so out of hand that Kane had to do a follow-up post explaining a few things, and when all was said and done, it was completely incorrect. Adventure Mangle Hanging. This was a teaser, which was a black dark screen, and when you brighten it up, you would see Adventure Mangle hanging. But changing the contrast, you can see her lower body hanging by the paddle ball that she used at the end of the trailer. At the bottom of the screen, some slanted text can be seen reading, "See what you've all done." Afton's large forehead. A meme in which Afton, also known as Scraptrap, is said to have a large forehead compared to all the other animatronics. Many people compare him to things such as Jimmy Neutron, and this meme is factually incorrect as Scott modeled Afton after an actual human and the others not. Afton Built. Afton Built was a rejected pitch for a game that was a darker take on the FNAF franchise. The description on Game Jolt says, following the events of FNAF 3, you play as the mechanic, one of the engineers responsible for the upkeep of the attraction. After saving the main attraction from the blaze, you find the animatronic has been possessed with the spirit of the founder of Freddy Fazbear's, William Afton. The mechanic and Afton team up to continue his work and build Afton a new body to walk amongst the living yet again. And the player is tasked with surviving 4 of the most harrowing locations in Fazbear history, using only their wits, movement, and a set of handmade tools. Using these, the player will have to fight back, striking back against the monsters that hunt them using traps in the environment to corner and scrap them, all the while exploring these locations for the secrets that lay just beneath the surface. In Afton Built, you are tasked with scrapping the main animatronic of each level. In order to do this, you are given a set of tools and environmental hazards to use to your advantage, and you can download the pre-alpha proof of concept demo on their page at GameJolt.com. Afton Built Controversy. The Afton Built controversy is an interesting one. Some game developers worked Afton Built in hopes of selling it to Scott Cawthon, but he didn't like it and asked to see more originality. So the team worked some more and came up with some unique aspects of the game, like being able to scrap the animatronics using tools. They continually sent updates to Cawthon, and soon he sent them an email asking to make an NDA or non-disclosure agreement. But this was the summer of 2021, a time where Scott Cawthon found himself at the center of a lot of controversy. and because of this, Cawthon wasn't able to get back to them for several months. The people at ClickTeam Fusion, a programming tool used for game design, were put in charge of fanverse communications, and they got along well with the developers of AptiveBuild. But they still hadn't done any paperwork, so they continued to develop their game at their own expense. They did eventually get an NDA, but that didn't grant them entry to the fanverse. Over a year later, they started discussing the budget. ClickTeam couldn't negotiate for Cawthon as he still owned FNAF. Communication between parties was still an issue, but not as much progress was made regarding the budget. Since no progress was made, it was very difficult to continue to fund the project. Finally, Cawthon agreed on a budget, development timeline, and funding structure, and the team quickly finished and sent over a demo to him. After a few weeks, they got an email from ClickTeam saying the team should be expecting their contracts within the next week, but Scott Cawthon changed his mind on the funding structure, implying that the development team has still not proven themselves, and he denied them entry to the fanverse and granted them permission to continue working on the game in a non-profit fashion. They didn't sign the contract. Animatronics looking at the camera. There's an unused texture in FNAF 1. It was for the show stage camera. The three main animatronics in the game are in their usual positions, but they are scarily or creepily staring into the camera. And some people say they have seen this in the game, but they are misremembering. It's literally not in the game. Another FNAF game open source. Another FNAF game open source is a fan game made by Fiznom. The description says, FNAF 2 has been remastered, absolutely terrifying. Another FNAF fan game open source is a moddable, infinitely changeable version of FNAF 2. It can be anything you want it to, so to make it the most enjoyable horror you have ever imagined, all you have to do is mod it. It's FNAF 2 with newer mechanics, a new office in different settings, and the gameplay is only a custom night as of the beta. However, it was going to have missions and unlocks available. The custom night mode has, alongside the character settings, night settings, and game mods. Bear of Vengeance. Bear of Vengeance is one of the anime sections or intermissions in Ultimate Custom Night. It is a style of a samurai anime, and instead of some other common tropes like Toy Chica High School Years was. The bear narrates the futility of his battles against the fox while lamenting his current punishment for the week before rebounding and plotting revenge. The scenes then transition to the fox in his dojo, gleefully remarking on the inevitability of the bear's retaliation and declaring that he will be ready, while Mangle comments. Each week the bear is forced to endure a different humiliation by doing household tasks. This could be symbolizing the relationship between William and Henry, but where Mangle falls in this theory is unsure, but some agree it is Elizabeth. There is some merchandise released by McFarlane of the fox in a smaller dojo part, excluding Mangle or the bear. Beaver and Wolf animatronics in FNAF 1. Scott had mentioned in the interview with Daco that he had many different plans for what the animatronics would end up being in the first game. Freddy was originally planned to be a beaver animatronic, but was switched to a bear for being too similar to Chipper from Chipper and Sons Lumberco. While Foxy had two different plans, one for being a fox, of course, but another one being a wolf, and he ended up being the former. Although these animatronic ideas were cancelled for the first game, they had come back in different forms later in the series with El Chip and Pizzeria Simulator and Twisted Wolf and the Twisted Ones. Beta Nightmare Fredbear in Help Wanted's trailer. In the first trailer for Help Wanted, there is a shot of Nightmare Fredbear walking towards the camera, but his color scheme is of Nightmare Freddy's. He has a black bow tie, brown and light brown fur. It is unknown if this was an error or an unused character. Fans dubbed it as Nightmare Freddy Bear. Blacklight animatronics in Help Wanted. In the files of Help Wanted, there are some animatronic versions of the Funko Blacklight line of merchandise. These animatronics were Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, with Foxy's Blacklight model being completely white and no color. These could have been used instead of the hard mode animatronics that are in the final game. Bonnie and Chica's groans. In the first game, Bonnie and Chica, after getting close to the door, will make humanoid groaning sounds. The sound will play when Bonnie or Chica are inside the office while you are watching the cameras. The sounds are not specific to each animatronic, as they both are the same exact sound. People have theorized that these could be the groans of the spirits wanting to escape. Bonnie plays with matches. An animation done by Exploshi in their signature dark style, in which it plays out as a sort of PSA to not light matches. Bonnie lights a pack of matches, and Freddy warns him not to. The Bonnie then lights the pizzeria on fire, and they burn to death, with the text displaying, "Yikes, fire is the least fun way to die," with flashing red and yellow lights before cutting to static. Bootleg plushies with teeth. This refers to a specific line of bootleg merchandise in which the animatronics like Freddy, Golden Freddy, and Bonnie not only have a top row of teeth, but they are extremely massive. These have been memed upon in the FNAF community for their dumb looks, possibly even referenced in Pizza Simulator on a poster in the office of the Rockstar animatronics. Buff Helpy. This is a meme in which someone had edited Helpy's head on top of a stock image of a buff man, hence the name Buff Helpy. It has gained some popularity in the FNAF community as it appeared in the very first FNAF meme review series by Dawko. Dawko pretended to hate it so much to scream at it and throw supposed holy water on it. There have been many fan games about this meme, and even Dawko played one on his channel. He also dressed up as Buff Helpy, and has even grown an army in VR chat about Buff Helpy. Burntrap Death Cutscene. For the ending in which you battle Burntrap, it shows a cutscene of Burntrap being killed and strangled by the Blob and Gregory and Glamrock Freddy making a run for it. This cutscene is a highlight of the game as it is more high quality than the rest of the game, and this leads to the true ending of Security Breach. Burntrap uses parts from Glamrock Bonnie. People say this as we don't see Glamrock Bonnie in the game as an animatronic, and Burntrap also uses some animatronic parts such as an endoskeleton's arm and an animatronic's foot. Burntrap's death animation. There was an unused animation in the files of Security Breach, which was of Burntrap falling onto the floor and dying, and this was most likely unused due to the placement of the cutscene, as that's the way he dies, as it shows him being strangled by the Blob in the cutscene. Cam stalling. This is a method that had originated from the first game and is continued all the way up to today. Foxy is a quite complex character and is thus not considered camera stallable. Freddy, however, is, and Freddy would not progress as long as you were looking at him, but is not camera stallable on most cameras due to him still progressing when you lower the monitor. On his final stage, he is camera stallable. As long as the camera is in that corner, Freddy will never enter the office. He will leave after a while, as if the door had been closed, and this had not returned until Ultimate Custom Night. This mechanic was a major component and the final tactic found in order to make 50/20 mode possible. Cancelled due to leaks. There was a teaser to Scott posted to scottgames.com in the development of sister location in which it read cancelled due to leaks. People were worried that people were leaking sister location before Scott released it, and he decided to cancel the game development. One person decided to brighten the image up, and it read about gas leaks in the Circus Baby pizzeria, and Scott had baited his fan base to hide some lore. Chips. Chips are a type of equipment which is a major mechanic in the widely disliked game FNAF world. They are used to make your characters more powerful in battles and to defeat enemies or bosses quicker. And there are 3 different types of chips in the game to complete a full collection, although you can only have 4 equipped at one time. All of these chips can be found in either a red chest or a gold chest, which are scattered around the map. Chris and Evan Afton. People thought these were the names of the crying child, with Chris just being a fan-given name, no reason why, and Evan Afton apparently being revealed through the survival logbook page 95 in the 8-bit Foxy code. Many people still doubt the possibility of Evan, though. Chrome Freddy. Chrome Freddy refers to a hoax created by the YouTube Jimbothy. He maintains that Chrome Freddy is a hidden animatronic in FNAF 3, and to unlock it, you need to start a new game, mute the call from the phone guy, and once the clock hits 2 a.m., open the camera selection to the screen and go to camera 7, 6, 6, and then 5. Then reboot all the systems. Shut off the vent to your immediate right, and then quickly press the escape button. Then restart the entire game from night 1. Progress into night 2, and once night 2 begins, quickly mute phone guy again. Then go to the camera selection screen and go to camera 7. Press the following buttons in order: up, left, right up, down, right. This will activate Mangle's Quest minigame. Quickly complete it and get caught by a security guard. This will restart the night. As soon as the night restarts, mute the call again. Allow yourself to be jump scared by one of the hallucinations, and reboot everything. Once you've rebooted twice, hit escape, which should cancel the night completely. After this, make it to night 4 in one try, and use the wall panels in front of you. Yes, click on the actual wall, and dial 15666. Go to your camera selection, and select camera 6 3 times, then hit play audio. And finally, after this, restart the game one more time, and Chrome Freddy should be in the game. I don't know how people come up with this stuff. Circus Baby on the game over screen. There was an unused texture in the files for a Circus Baby, but with red light coming from her left side and shadowed on the side facing the camera. People later discovered it was going to be used for a game over screen, and some fans of the franchise have said that it looks better with Circus Baby behind the static. Circus Baby's eye color changes. Before Circus Baby lured Elizabeth into being scooped, her eyes were blue, but when Circus Baby had scooped Elizabeth, her eyes had switched to green to match Elizabeth's eyes. We could see this in the secret ending of Circus Baby minigame and sister location, as when Elizabeth is scooped, Circus Baby's eyes change from blue to green, and the minigame turns to static and brings up the next night. CK9C. CK9C, also known as George Aguilar II or Jorge Aguilar II, or Chaotic Canine Culture on YouTube, is a musician on YouTube. They're on this iceberg because some of the songs they've made are FNAF related, such as Fun Time Dance Floor and Do You Even? Coffee Pot and Help Wanted. There are many Easter eggs in FNAF VR Help Wanted in which the protagonist, Coffee Pot from the Desolate Hope, can appear in different areas. The most well known of the lot being Coffee Pot appearing on the desk in FNAF 3 mode, near the end of the desk. He can also appear in the prize counter area, as they can be seen on the floor behind the counter. Dangler's Hate. Danglers refers to backpack hangers known as collector's clips or danglers, which are keychains based on the Five Nights at Freddy's characters designed by the Japanese company Evelet and released by Just Toys. They were first released in late 2015, and as far as people hating them, I found this review online that might explain it. They say, "I don't know, they're alright, I guess. Yeah, I do not have a burning hate for them like a lot of people do, I just think they're alright." So back on track, I have Toy Chica, Plushtrap, and BB. The weirdest one is Plushtrap, from the yellow fur to the golden bow tie. Heck, even his fur just changes. His belly is gray, and the inside of his ears are brown? They should be the same color. You know, he looks like Plushtrap from those Nights at Fredbear's. As for Balloon Boy, he cannot stand up. But all over he looks good, and as for Toy Chica, she looks like an alien. Dawko music videos. The popular FNAF YouTuber Dawko has made a variety of songs and music videos about FNAF, notably Out of Stock, the Glitch Trap song, FNAF 6 song, and Count the Ways. Dawko's 50-20 reactions. This entry refers to when Dawko finally beat 50-20 mode. He was so happy and shocked that he actually did it that he started crying. Demo screens. Demo screens probably refers to screens that only appeared in the demo of the game and didn't make it into the full game. Screens like this one saying, "Thanks for playing the demo, get the full version for the complete 5-day experience plus 2 unlockable modes of gameplay. Freddy and his friends are waiting." Destroyed Ball Boy. Destroyed Balloon Boy, aka Balloon Boy Prototype, is an antagonist in FNAF Animatronic Graveyard. Balloon Boy Prototype is a humanoid animatronic boy that is broken and ravaged. He resembles a nightmare Balloon Boy that is broken but has a friendlier look. The description says, created in 1981, Balloon Boy Prototype was Fazbear's Inc.'s first attempt at creating a humanoid animatronic to make children less scared of the animal-like ones, but since he is a prototype, this failed, resulting in a nightmarish abomination. Many things were off with this Balloon Boy model. His jaw is too big, his eyes were too small, and he had too many teeth for a normal human being, and his mouth opened too wide, revealing his endoskeleton teeth. Balloon Boy Prototype was sent to Afton Robotics Inc. to be fixed, resulting in a failed experiment. Obviously, in 1986, a new Balloon Boy was created, but Balloon Boy Prototype was sent away and into a locked room until the pizzeria is left to rot. DJ Sterf. This is a person who has created many videos about playing through each FNAF game and completing them thoroughly. He has also been in one MatPat charity livestream. Dormatibus. Dormatibus is a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game that was developed by Blackout, Own Trick, Steven Mater, and Super Arthur Bros. Faced with dangerous robotic abominations, the player has to survive 10 nights of terror and panic. The only things he is given to defend himself are an old dusty desktop computer and his own reflexes. Draw Kill Animatronics. The bot animatronics, otherwise more commonly known as the Draw Kill animatronics or fan animatronics created by a person on DeviantArt named Draw Kill. They are all stylized in the character's own art style and have emphasis on elements such as the hands or the hips, and there are also other animatronics which were adapted to fit the style, such as the toy animatronics and Mangle, and these grew into huge popularity as people thought they were a hoax for Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Drowned and Clock Ending. These refer to two possible endings you can get upon completing FNAF World. The drowned ending is found in the similar fashion as the fourth glitch ending, with some minor changes at the end. First, you proceed to the fourth glitch, then pace back and forth above the lake. The Freddy sprite should begin to shift closer and closer to the lake before eventually falling in. Hitting the arrow keys back and forth will cause Freddy to struggle until he goes completely under the water. He will then be shown falling in the middle of a black screen. After about 2 minutes, the screen will cut to a figure who seems to have their back to the player and arms around two others. In the background will flash many colors and stay like this until the player closes the game via Task Manager or presses F2 to restart the game. Clock ending is unlocked by gathering all the clock pieces and solving their puzzles. To do this, first, anytime the player speaks to the storyline Fredbear, they must go through his dialogue until the Done button appears. Do not click it. After staying idle for a few seconds, Fredbear will transform into his 8-bit form and allude darker things. Follow these steps to the letter. Number 1. The Fredbear at the beginning of the game will open this quest. Find the next Fredbear near the first glitched object. Number 2. The next Fredbear will tell the player to find a clock before proceeding into the first glitched object. The first clock is in the southeast of Fredbear Hills. To solve the game here, the player must push BB into the box. After the timer ticks down, the player will be transported back to where they were before. Continue until finding the next Fredbear. Number 3. The next Fredbear is in Choppy's Woods and will tell the player to find the clock in Dusting Fields, which is located near Lolbit. The second game has the player light up 4 buttons by touching them. Continue to the next Fredbear. Number 4. The next Fredbear will tell the player to enter the mine before entering the next glitched item. Defeat Bouncer and continue to the mysterious mine entrance in the northern side of Dusting Fields. The third clock is found by going straight under the first set of the board, turning left and going down. And it can be solved by pushing all 4 cupcakes into the boxes. Find the next Fredbear. Number 5. The fourth clock is located in the mysterious mine through the entrance at the first north center of the map, reached via Lilygear Lake. The player will be presented with another game. Properly set this clock, enter the code 395248, which appears from touching the center button, which must be displayed when time runs out. Find the next Fredbear. The next Fredbear, which is in Black Tomb Yard, will tell the player to go to Pinwheel Funhouse. Find the next Fredbear. One after that will tell the player to continue on into the Funhouse. After the fight with Brow Boy, the player must wander the Funhouse until they get to a wooded area with a clock easily visible. The game here is to push RWQFSFASXC into the box. Find the next Fredbear past the Bubba fight. This is the last Fredbear for this route. He will tell the player to ignore the Guardians and find the key. However, it seems irrelevant on whether or not the player kills a Guardian. Then, if all clocks are set right, the way through will appear. The player must defeat Pork Patch to get the key. Then they must travel to Choppy Woods via the northwest section of Lilygear Lake. There they can find the key block, and if they set all the clocks properly, a warp circle appears behind it, and you can enter the circle for the ending. Endoskeleton Innards. This is the etymology of Innard's name, the metallic spaghetti character from Sister Location. Electrobab. This is a character which appeared in Sister Location for the unlockable custom night game mode. It's basically a duplicate of the character Bidybab, but the only thing that separates them is Electrobab has golden eyes, in which he uses to drain the power of the player's computer tablet. Endoskeleton hand clipping in the FNAF 1 trailer. In the original FNAF 1 trailer, when the band performs in Children Cheer, you can see Freddy Fazbear's endoskeleton coming through the animatronic suit's hand. This is obviously an accident by Scott, and the merch company Just Toys thought it wasn't an error and put this into the Freddy Fazbear dangler. ETH Goes Boom. This is a YouTuber who animated 3D models of several FNAF characters such as Freddy, Springtrap, and Foxy, and makes them play several games such as FNAF VR Help Wanted, the Henry Stickman Collection, and Bendy and the Ink Machine. He would also list things by how bad it is, how good it is, and many other variations like tier lists. Fake Scott Cawthon email. This is a hoax when someone used Inspect Element to fake an email from Scott, and it talked about what was coming in FNAF 3. Everyone thought it was real, as there weren't many hoaxes pre-FNAF 3, and we didn't know much about FNAF 3 at the time before release. Faz Facts. An unused element in FNAF AR Special Delivery, in which there were facts about parts in the FNAF in-game lore, unlike the newspaper Easter eggs. and they contained many different pieces of information of the in-game universe, such as the first FNAF location being Fredbear's Family Diner, and how hurricanes are not the main cause of death in children in Hurricane, Utah, and how Rockstar Bonnie used parts from FNAF 1 Bonnie, and way more. Fazbear Frights number 12, Felix the Shark. The 12th Fazbear Frights book, Felix the Shark, is on here due to the book containing scrapped stories from the main Fazbear Frights series that were originally supposed to be in the other main 11 books, and the only way to obtain the book physically is to buy the third book set, as it was only released physically with them, though a digital version can be bought. Fazbear Frights ARG. In 2022, someone made a post on Reddit on the subreddit r/GameTheorists proposing a theory that Fazbear's Frights will be an ARG, and the post reads, "So I don't have absolutely any evidence other than speculation, but looking at the evidence presented in the video, I have an idea brewing and you might be able to work something out with it, I guess." So the evidence I'm referring to is 1. ARG, 2. Clear reference to FNAF 3, and 3. Real-life books. So we know there will most likely be an ARG, and we all know the story of FNAF 3. In 2023, a location called Fazbear's Fright is opened in Hurricane, Utah, and eventually it has Springtrap in it, blah blah blah. And the books are also called Fazbear's Frights. One of the clues said some of the puzzle clues such as Stinger Moot and even more frights. What if by next year, Scott will build a real-life Fazbear's Fright with lore clues in it, and maybe even an employee dressed up as Springtrap, a Mike Phone Dude, etc. Or if he builds Fazbear's Fright attraction after Mike burned it down, aka when it's left in ruins, maybe it will connect with Security Breach DLC that also comes out in 2023. Anyways, those are my observations. Freddy. Freddy refers to an Among Us style drawing of Freddy Fazbear and other characters from the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, depicting the characters in a crudely drawn style with stubby legs, no arms, and misspelling their names by omitting and rearranging letters. The first Freddy image was posted to Tumblr in 2015 by artist Philip Banks, predating the Among Us meme, and shows the character Bonnie in the same style. The Freddy version was first uploaded to Tumblr in 2020, inspiring a redraw series in the following months. A subreddit for Freddy photoshops and ironic memes, r/Freddy, was opened up in March 2020, and on April 29th, 2015, Tumblr user Philip Banks was requested through Tumblr's Q&A feature with the message, "Can you draw Bonnie obliterating his guitar?" to which he replied with a gif of Bonnie making a guitar explode just by looking at it, gaining over 3,200 notes in the 7 years. This was subsequently done with several other characters of the franchise with various objects replacing the guitar. Five Nights at Freddy's Simulator. This is a game that was released by Obsidious, in which you play as animatronics racing towards and attacking the night guard. There are many different maps to play on, and with many updates coming on the way with more animatronics, there has been some hype on this. It has been played by many different people in the FNAF community, such as Fusions Gamer and Dako. Five Nights at Freddy's Wiki. The Five Nights at Freddy's Wiki is a comprehensive encyclopedia site about the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Five Nights at Markiplier. This entry refers to a very creepy YouTube video called Five Nights at Markiplier's. The video starts with a parody of Phone Guy telling the new employee that he is tasked with watching over and monitoring Markiplier's house. When the employee checks the cameras, strange drawings of Markiplier are seen in place of the animatronics, and it's emphasized in the video that Markiplier loves milk and can't get enough of it. The Phone Guy states that he left a few gallons of milk in the basement for him and says the employee doesn't want to know what will happen if he runs out of milk, and he also states the power is limited because the house runs off of milk energy, but he should be okay. Throughout the video, it's implied the employee is to avoid Markiplier because he'll eat his bones for calcium, and it ends with a hyper-realistic, uncanny 3D model of Markiplier eating the employee. Five Nights at Treasure Island. Five Nights at Treasure Island is a FNAF fan game made in ClickTeam Fusion and Blender, and the plot of the game is as follows. Your name is Jake Smith. You are a university student who joined the SSA through an educational program, mainly for your lack of money. The SSA has given you a rather strange assignment. Look over the notorious abandoned Disney resort, Treasure Island, to collect data. Little do you know about the dark secrets and horrors hidden on the island itself. Five Nights at Wario's. Five Nights at Wario's is another fan game by www Wario. Player works as a night guard named Richard McRoy for a newly reopened fast food factory where the spirits of Wario, Luigi, Waluigi, Peach, and Mario attempt to reach the office. As a protection, the player can choose to close a door and a window and use the monitor to make sure they don't get in. Lights may be used to check dark spots in the halls to make sure no characters are hiding there, and if the player is caught, the characters will kill the player, and the player must restart the night they were on. FNAF 1 Jump Scare Origin. X Scream is the jump scare audio for the characters in FNAF 1, including Golden Freddy because he is just Freddy's jump scare with lower pitch. This piece of audio comes from the movie Inseminoid, a British movie in which a woman gives birth to alien babies, and the origin was unknown until someone found it on the r/Five Nights at Freddy's subreddit. FNAF 3 Free Roam Hoaxes. This entry refers to a rumor people believed that FNAF 3 was going to be a free roam game mode instead of a point and click similar to FNAF Security Breach. And this was influenced by some fan-made FNAF 3 trailers making it have a free roam element. This obviously never came true and was similar to the previous two games. FNAF Character Encyclopedia. Five Nights at Freddy's Character Encyclopedia is a book by Scott Cawthon that is exactly what it sounds like. And the Amazon description says, an in-depth look at all the characters from Five Nights at Freddy's in a beautiful deluxe hardcover format. The massive roster of characters from Five Nights at Freddy's is presented here in a giant hardcover that will make the perfect addition to any fan's library. From the games to the novels and short stories, all the characters are here and laid out in awesome detail that will deepen the knowledge of even the most enthusiastic player. With over 200 pages of full-color art, this encyclopedia is not to be missed. FNAF Meme Review. In a similar vein to PewDiePie's Meme Review series, this is a 30-plus episode series Daco does on this channel, in which he looks at FNAF memes submitted by his fans on Twitter. And the most iconic meme to come out of this series being Buff Helpy, which was previously mentioned on the Iceberg. Daco had even done a spin-off of this series named FNAF Horror Review, similar concept to the series, but with its horror terror-based images, which hasn't stuck as much as this series has. FNAF Turns 8. FNAF Turns 8 is a week-long Game Jolt event that was celebrated in honor of the franchise's 8th anniversary. It has included many different things to celebrate this milestone, such as a live stream of Cake-tastic Cakes making a Five Nights at Freddy's themed cake, fan games like Fazbear Tycoon, The Glitched Attraction, and A Golden Past, and a live stream playthrough of the first Five Nights at Freddy's game by Sancho, The Bold, and Planet Jupiter. This event also comes with a Try Not to Jump option. FNAF X Hex. This entry refers to FNAF collaborating with Hex, Daco's merch company. They created and sell plushies of a lot of the characters, and the plushies are about 10 inches tall and cost around $35. 4 games, 1 story. This entry refers to when Scott Cawthon updated his website with the text 4 games, 1 story before the release of FNAF World. Game theory was going absolutely insane, and the internet was trying to piece all the details together, and it was a wild time. Fredbear and Friends 1983. This refers to the advertisement played on the TV in the minigame segments of FNAF 4. It displays each animatronic in order: Fredbear and Foxy, Bonnie, Chica, and finally Freddy. This selection is odd due to the only animatronics in the restaurant at the time being Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, and this Easter egg deconfirms the idea of the Bite of 87 happening in FNAF 4. Fredbear Dancing. Fredbear Dancing is a meme that shows Fredbear absolutely tearing up the stage with Spring Bonnie just standing there and watching him. I'm not sure if he's staring in shock or awe. Freddy stares at the camera. When all the other animatronics, Bonnie and Chica, leave the stage in FNAF 1, it is only Freddy that's left. There is a possibility that Freddy can stare at the show stage camera with completely dark eyes and white pupils. Freddy's Top Teeth. In some merchandise produced by certain companies, there have been many pieces of merch of Freddy. Some have had Freddy's teeth being able to be seen, and usually he has just a bottom set of teeth, like the endgame design, but some pieces of merchandise have a top row of teeth. And many people in the fanbase have no clue how you can mess something as simple as that up, as Freddy's teeth are commonly seen throughout all the games he is featured in. Freddy Bear. In the description of the Kickstarter made by Scott before FNAF was uploaded to Desura, the name of the titular antagonist, Freddy Fazbear, was originally Freddy Bear, and this was scrapped and replaced with a placeholder name as Freddy, which led to it becoming his actual canon name in the series. Fright Dome 2016. This was an event held in Circus Circus, Las Vegas. It was first announced in September of 2016 and began the same month and ran throughout the month of October. Scott later revealed that it would not be open in 2017 due to management changes, and it was basically a real-life version of the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location. There are some slight changes, like a headless pink animatronic which slightly resembled Bonnet. And the office has the Freddy mask next to a door frame, and there's also, there's a ton of other stuff. FNAF. John is a YouTuber making content related to FNAF theories, updates, merchandise, or news, and he's well known for his entire history of FNAF video, where he discusses everything from FNAF's heyday to when the video was uploaded. Fun with Plush Trap. In between each night in FNAF 4, you will get a minigame named Fun with Plush Trap, and this is a minigame where you have to try and get Plush Trap on an X in front of you, stopping his movement with a flashlight. Getting him on the X will have 2 hours taken off the next night. There's a different outcome if you activate cheats, explained in Tier 4. Game Theory saying, Music Man. This refers to MatPat having an insane reaction at the reveal of Music Man in the 2021 FNAF Security Breach trailer. In the trailer, Music Man comes out of a pipe in the wall and crawls after the player. Gamer Toy Freddy. People refer to Toy Freddy as Gamer Freddy because one of his skins is a neon color and has him wearing a VR headset. Give Gifts, Give Life's Fifth Child. In the Give Gifts, Give Life minigame from FNAF 2, as the puppet, you give all 4 of the main kids their animatronic masks. Once you give their masks to all of them, you get a jump scare from Withered Golden Freddy. For a brief second before the Withered Golden Freddy's head appears, you can see a dead 5th child, which is because of the Withered Golden Freddy jump scare. It is speculated to be the spirit of that animatronic. Glamrock Mr. Hippo. Glamrock Mr. Hippo is a Glamrock counterpart of Mr. Hippo, who plays the triangle and is a minor animatronic only seen in a newspaper article at the end of Security Breach. In that ending, a newspaper image reveals that Mr. Hippo has taken Monty's place as the bassist, with Monty now taking the role of Glamrock Freddy as the lead singer of the band. He has a flower on his chest and a star around his eye and leg. Golden Cassidy Kazoo. This refers to a website called cloakbrand.com releasing a golden FNAF themed kazoo with the name Cassidy on it. People immediately thought this meant that the spirit of the child inside Golden Freddy was named Cassidy, but Cawthon clarified this was a mistake and changed the words on it to Cloak FNAF. Golden Toy Freddy. Golden Toy Freddy was a hoax from FNAF 2. This is stated on the wiki as one of the least believable hoaxes from the community. I mean, just look at this picture. Golden Freddy Ultimate Custom Night cutscene. This is a cinematic and Ultimate Custom Night, and once the player has seen all of the Bear of Vengeance and Toy Chica high school years cutscenes and achieves a score of 9800, then the last cutscene they experience will be a cutscene of Golden Freddy and his original Five Nights at Freddy's appearance, twitching and fading into darkness. Go Motion. Go Motion, also known as Jody Gomo or Gomo Gal, is a YouTube channel often focusing on Five Nights at Freddy's, its fan games, and other video game media. Originally posting speed edits and fan music, the channel shifted into episodic reviews and video essays helmed by Gomo Gal sometime around 2017, with the episodes divided into 3 separate seasons. Known for their zany and fast-paced humor, in-depth dives into the content she covers, and overarching lore from the 2nd season onwards, and a love for chunks of plastic related to their favorite franchises. Gray Fredbear. Just like the other characters leading up to FNAF 4, Nightmare Fredbear got a Was It Me teaser. Nightmare Fredbear's character was a bit special though, as his colors were not his usual yellow and purple, but gray and purple. This is most likely a stylistic choice, but some believe it to be a beta design in place for Nightmare. How to make Five Nights at Freddy's not scary. This entry refers to a series created by Garrett Williamson, in which he would edit footage of each game, adding comedic audio, visuals, or voice lines. And this first episode was hugely popular with over 51 million views, and it being his most popular video, followed by the sequel and the threequel. Ice Cave Song. On FNAFWorld.com, Scott had put an unused song file under a FNAF World teaser. That song was for an unused cave named the Ice Cave, which could have been a tie between the Dusting Fields and cave system. There's not much known about this besides the audio. Illusion Discs. Illusion Discs are items that appear in the Five Nights at Freddy's novel series. They are described as flat discs about the size of a $50 coin. One that was removed from Twisted Animatronic had Afton Robotics LLC, written in tiny letters on the side of an old-fashioned flowing script. The discs employ 5 high-pitched frequencies that constantly change, and the noise is only detected by the subconscious, which becomes overwhelmed with patterns. This causes the listener's perception to change due to what they expect to see, not what it really is, and a side effect of the noise is feeling sick. The discs have a maximum range and do not affect vision after a certain point. And images of those affected by illusion discs appear blurry and distorted, as shown in the fourth closet, when photos of baby are blurry when she is disguised as Charlie. IV drip, flowers, and pills. In FNAF 4, from the bed on rare occasions, a bottle of pills, a vase of flowers, or an IV drip may be seen on the bedside table located from the left. A lot of people had taken this to indicate that the entirety of FNAF 4 is your character recovering from the bite of 83 or 87 and is now suffering from nightmares or hallucinations that plague him every night. Jack Black is a FNAF fan. Jack Black has shown an interest in the FNAF series, and he had done a video while playing FNAF 4 with Markiplier back in 2015, and Jack had also done a video singing the It's Been So Long song by The Living Tombstone, whilst wearing pants with the FNAF logo on it. He had even done a video on his channel, Jablinski Games, where 6 minutes in, he plays through FNAF 1, so clearly he is a fan. Juniors. Juniors is a location featured in one of the FNAF Pizza Simulator minigames called Midnight Motorist. An unspecified restaurant with a sign for Juniors is seen in a secret area where the player talks to a green person and is barred from entering, located in the middle of the woods. A parking lot outside contains several other cars, and there's some speculation as to what Juniors is exactly, with theories ranging from the original Fredbear's location to a bar. Juniors is FNAF 2. Since we just talked about this in the previous entry, there's no need to, introduce what Juniors is again, but another theory that people have is that Juniors is the FNAF 2 location. JT Music. JT Music is a YouTuber who makes songs and skits for video games, and their most popular video by far is a song they made based on sister location called Join Us for a Bite, with 214 million views at the time of recording. They have also done a variety of other songs based on the franchise. Kira Breed Risley. This is a person who helped Scott make the original series, The Silver Eyes, The Twisted Ones in the Fourth Closet, and the graphic novels, The Silver Eyes graphic novel, and Twisted Ones graphic novel, and The Fourth Closet graphic novel. Her name usually goes unseen and is sometimes not credited when people talk about the books. Lego FNAF. Apparently, you can go on Amazon and get knockoff Legos of FNAF characters, and they actually look really good, and this entry could be referring to a fan-made FNAF game that's basically the exact same as FNAF 1, but everything is made of Legos, and it is widely popular, even attracting the attention of Dawko, and a trilogy was planned, but they got DMCA'd by Lego themselves, and you can no longer find the game online, at least I don't think so. Low-quality bootleg hoodies. This entry probably refers to the $5 FNAF hoodies you can find on wholesale sites like AliExpress. The quality is so bad that if you watch it once, it shrinks 3 times. If you had a picture of a whale on it, it would come out of the wash looking like a dolphin. Imagine that with a FNAF hoodie, it would be unrecognizable. Lives in FNAF 1 through 3. Lives were going to be used in FNAF 1, 2, and 3, and they would have the mechanic where you would restart the night that you were on, but when you lost all your lives, you would restart from night 1. You can actually see them in the video Five Nights at Freddy's gameplay uploaded to Scott's channel. Lost FNAF 1 trailer. There was a rumor which led from a comment on the video Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a trailer of the upcoming game at the time of the same name posted to Scott's channel. It is said something along the lines of, it was a good choice to remove the creepy red eyes from the original trailer, and this made people believe that Scott posted an original trailer on his channel. People had then put Scott's Google Plus through the Internet Archive Wayback Machine and found a privated video called Five Nights, which people believed that this was the lost trailer, but the original commenter was just confusing it with the trailer currently on Scott's channel. Mad Science with Dr. Scraptrap. In FNAF Security Breach, you can find an arcade cabinet called Mad Science with Dr. Scraptrap, with the artwork on the cabinet being a Scraptrap in a lab coat with a beaker of bubbling green liquids. And this was the first time Scraptrap was referenced as his name in the official FNAF game as an Ultimate Custom Night and Pizzeria Simulator, he was dubbed as Afton. Some fans believed that the gameplay would play out similar to Dr. Mario or Puyo Puyo, and someone has even made a good recreation of this concept. Mangle and Springtrap's pre-release design changes. In teasers released by Scott on his website, Mangle and Springtrap's designs seem to have changed before the games were released, Mangle being the most recognizable as he can be seen with a hook just like Foxy from FNAF 1. Springtrap's design most likely didn't change as lightly skewed in this book and a heavy shading. It made his face look like other shapes, like a fox or a bear. And before FNAF 3's release, the lighting led people to believe that Springtrap was a golden fox or a bear animatronic, with the possibility of an older Golden Freddy, aka Fredbear, as the original antagonist. Mangle with a hook. In a teaser posted in development stage of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Scott had of course posted a few teasers to keep fans hyped. One of the teasers had a sign with the number 2 on it in front of the Pirates Cove curtain. And 2 animatronics could be seen peeking around the curtain, one being Mangle, unknown at the time, and weirdly Foxy from the first game. And you could see that Mangle had actually used a hook to pull back the curtain to peek behind just like Foxy did, and the design went unused in the final game. Marionette and Balloon Boy in FNAF 1. Due to the Marionette appearing in the FNAF 2 hallucination segments, of course the Marionette puppet can be seen. This leads many people to believe that the Marionette could have been in FNAF 1 Pizzeria, and MatPat also theorized that Balloon Boy is also possible to have originated from the FNAF 1 Pizzeria, as he is the only unique animatronic, along with the Marionette, to be present in FNAF 2. Microtransactions in FNAF 1's mobile version. In the mobile version of FNAF 1, you can buy plushies of the 3 main animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, which do nothing, and they are all priced at 99 cents. You can also buy a cheat mode, which gives you a radar map with unlimited power, and many people were annoyed by this and began not to think well of the mobile ports. Mike. There is a sprite in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 file in which it was a segment of a skull representing the head of Frogget, an enemy from Undertale. This was not chosen to be in the final game, as it is unknown what it's going to be used for. Someone in the community had created a full version of the image, even including a set of 2 rabbit ears. Molten Freddy Blueprint. The Insanity ending in Pizza Simulator shows 3 blueprints, but in the game files there's an extra 4th blueprint pertaining to Molten Freddy. Despite being unused, it's still canonical to the lore. Montgomery Gator destroyed Shamrock Bonnie. Montgomery Gator, also known as Monty for short, is one of the 3 secondary antagonists along with Glamrock Chica and Roxanne Wolf of the Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. He is an animatronic alligator who is brainwashed by Vanny into killing a young boy named Gregory. Montgomery is the replacement for Glamrock Bonnie, who is scrapped for unknown reasons before the events of the game. It's been implied that Monty actually killed or removed Bonnie to take his place, and that he will do the same to Freddy to become the face of Pizzaplex. One of the images or messages reveals Glamrock Bonnie was last seen going to Monty's Gator Golf before being scrapped, and at one of the levels of the golf minigame, Freddy is seen in the garbage while Monty, Chica, and Roxanne are playing a show on the stage with Monty on the center and a giant Monty hologram behind them. If this is true, this would make him the only one out of all the Glamrock animatronics that is inherently evil and doesn't need Vanny's hacking to cause harm. Natterjohn's FNAF Iceberg. Natterjohn is a Reddit user who posted a FNAF Iceberg to the subreddit r/Five Nights at Freddy's. Here's a picture of it. I'm not really sure why this is on the iceberg, so let's move on. Newspaper clippings. Newspaper clippings refers to the missing children incident, which was an event that occurred at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location, presumably in the 1980s. It was a series of unsolved murders committed by William Afton. In the first game, the incident was mentioned in a newspaper clippings, occasionally seen replacing the Rules for Safety sign normally appearing in the East Hall. Nightmare JJ. Nightmare JJ is an animatronic appearing in the Nightmare Files, the first entry in the fan-made Untold Mysteries series. She is a twisted and monstrous version of JJ, and like her original version, Nightmare JJ is a recolored version of this game's version of Balloon Boy, using JJ's color scheme from the Five Nights at Freddy's game. Razbowski. Raz Williams, also known as Razbowski Online, is a Scottish YouTuber who mostly uploads Five Nights at Freddy's and reaction videos, although his FNAF content is definitely the most popular. The real Freddy Fazbear's Pizza image. This refers to an image that has made its rounds on the internet a while ago, with the poster of the image claiming they found the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location. In the flesh, not clickbait, gone wrong, etc. It was obviously photoshopped, which sucks because if Cawthon allowed it to be created, the place would be insanely popular. Scott Cawthon, if you're listening to this, I'd love to work in the real Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I can even invent menu items. We can have these little cheese balls like as appetizers and call them Freddy Fazballs. The Rise of Frankenfreddy. The Rise of Frankenfreddy Alpha is a pre-release prototype of Help Wanted's Curse of Dreadbear DLC found on PlayStation 4. On October 27, 2019, only days after the DLC's initial release, a Reddit post by user/NR Superstar was made on the official Five Nights at Freddy's subreddit about his accidental discovery of an old build, which he had downloaded the DLC to play for himself, and he discovered that the game was also attempting to download a large file immediately afterwards. Curiously, he stopped the update and started the game without it to see if it would work. And to his surprise, the game worked, and he was introduced to an alpha build for the DLC, including the old name. Salvage. I believe this refers to the salvage room in the pizzeria simulator. It is a room of indeterminate size where the player can salvage animatronics found in the back alley. The animatronics that can be salvaged are Molten Freddy, Scrap Trap, Scrap Baby, and Lefty, and the salvage room is dimly lit by what appears to be a single tungsten light bulb overhead. The only things visible are a wooden table, a cassette player, and maintenance checklist, and the animatronic being salvaged. It is impossible to determine the size of the room because of the poor lighting. Scott is self-taught. On November 4th, 2014, during an interview with Click Team, Scott Cawthon was asked, during your studies, did you learn the process of creating a game at university, or did you self-taught everything? To which he replied, I went to college for computer animation way back in 1996. I'm old, folks. So that's where I learned how to create the graphics for my games. As far as game creation itself, it's self-taught. Second Vanny, Vanessa is her ghost. Vanny is a follower of the digital virus Glitchtrap, a form of the serial killer William Afton, and is the main antagonist of Security Breach. It's revealed in the Princess Quest minigames that she was the main protagonist in Help Wanted, where she was first corrupted by Glitchtrap. She also plays a role in AR Special Delivery, and is heavily implied that Vanny and Vanessa are the same person with Glitchtrap controlling her, resulting in a Vanny alter ego. However, there is evidence that both supports and conflicts with this conclusion. The name Vanny seems to be a portmanteau of Vanessa and Bunny, a fact called out by Glam Rock Freddy if Gregory discovers Vanny's hideout in Phaser Blast. While some people believe that to be evidence for Vanessa being Vanny, others see it as too shallow of a connection, as the name is too incriminating for Vanessa. Vanny and Vanessa are never seen in the same place at the same time. In the scrap survival mode for the game, Vanessa would hunt Gregory, and eventually a meter would fill and the game would replace Vanessa with Vanny, and in some instances, fans who had dug into the game's code to make some of these feature work used in NoClip to see that Vanessa and Vanny cannot exist at the same time in this mode. Sister Location Custom Night. Sister Location Custom Night is an extra night in Sister Location. It was released on December 1st, 2016 and can be unlocked only after finishing the game and unlocking all 3 stars on the menu. Custom Night takes place in the private room where the player must defend themselves from almost all the animatronics in FNAF Sister Location, excluding Circus Baby and Innard. Like the first game, the player must manage their resources, in this case the power and the oxygen. Closing the doors will drain power as well as Electrobab, while the first variation of Mini-Rena and Yendo will drain the player's oxygen if they are present. There are many different challenges the player can complete, similar to Five Nights at Freddy's 2 Custom Night. Beating each preset game mode on the very hard difficulty except Golden Freddy mode unlocks a cutscene of Michael Afton walking along a street, which each cutscene showing him slowly decaying and becoming purple. At the end, Innard leaves the decaying body and enters the sewers when Michael falls down, and moments later, Baby is heard repeating the words, "You won't die," until Michael gets up and Innard's eyes light up in the sewers. The end, thanks for playing. In 2015, Scott Cawthon updated his website to the words, "The end, thanks for playing," over a black background. A lot of people took this at face value and assumed there would only ever be 4 FNAF games released. Cawthon posted on a forum stating that although he still isn't sure what his Halloween release will be, it won't be FNAF 5, but many people found that they could take the image on the website and brighten it up to reveal a question mark after the word end, signaling that it might not in fact be the end of the games, just the end of the canon story. Theft King. Theft King is an American gaming YouTuber and reviewer who primarily focuses on events in the Five Nights at Freddy's community, often including reviews and breakdowns of the various FNAF VHS web series on YouTube. On his channel, he claims to be the #1 FNAF channel in the world, and at the time of recording, he's made 160 FNAF videos. Theft King and Kane Carter drama. After Kane Carter made a post on Twitter about his annoyance towards FNAF YouTubers claiming the bad things about the FazBear Fanverse initiative, a collaboration by Scott Cawthon, the creator of the FNAF franchise, to help fund big fan games. Theft King took the tweet personally, though the tweet didn't mention him directly, and Kane's statement was just to the trend of YouTubers talking bad about the initiative. Most of Kane's fandom presumed the tweets was toward Theft King and allegedly sent Theft King multiple death threats and rude direct messages. However, there's no actual proof of this. Theft King tried to inform Kane about his fandom's harassment, but Kane allegedly ignored him, and Theft King soon made a video titled An Open Letter to Kane Carter, FazBear Fanverse Developer, about believing the tweet was about him. Theft showed clips from his videos of him being supportive of the initiative, and Kane would respond to the YouTube video on Twitter with a FNAF-style rickroll. Theft King and his community took it offensively, which Kane thought was foolish and stated there is no way a man in his 30s was affected by a rickroll or that my followers saw this as some kind of announcement to go and abuse Theft. Theft King would go on to stream for 5 hours, which would involve him complaining and explaining that Kane was ignoring him. Kane Carter, who was watching the stream then, made a post to his alt Twitter account showing proof that Theft King was lying. Kane had responded to Theft's message by instead deciding to hold the conversation on Discord, which Theft intended to paint as being simply ignored. He donated to Theft King's stream to bring Theft King's attention to it, with the donation saying, "Hey man, keep your chin up, you should definitely check the latest tweet by @LostPopGoes, it's important." This was much to Theft King's disapproval as he stated, "Are you kidding me, dude? Are you kidding? Do you really think this is the venue for this? I DM'd you. I'm begging you to speak to me. I've been begging you, and you just inaudible, ignoring me. I've been ignoring you. And now you come in private, and I'm trying to resolve this in private, and you come to my live stream and do a donation. Are you serious? Are you kidding me, dude? Do you know how unfair of a position you put me in? Are you serious? Wow, dude. Wow, dude." The tweet in question was a screenshot of their conversation on Discord, which would expose his lie, forcing him to end the stream not longer after making another, in which he complained about Kane's tweet and community, stating that if Scott Cawthon sees the video, he will be sorry. Theft King stated that Kane was a vindictive, evil person and that Kane would be burning in hell for all of eternity, and Twitter would mock him, and this would prompt Theft King to make an immediate apology. Kane eventually released a video responding to all of this drama, and in this video, he showed that Theft King responded to Kane on the 25th of June on Discord, and Kane asked for proof of the harassment and explained that the titles Goodbye Fanverse and The End of the FazBear Fanverse Initiative are clickbait, hinting at a negative video, yet actually containing fairly positive content. Theft didn't have any proof of the harassment, which follows another DM on Discord from Theft King after the tweet in which he stated to Kane that he really started to piss off other content creators by attacking anyone who dares to talk about something that could portray the fanverse as in a negative light. And if you continue to attack content creators on Twitter, where most of us don't have super large followings, they're going to retaliate on their own platforms, and I absolutely do not want things to get anywhere even close to there. Theft demanded Kane make a public apology by threatening to ruin his reputation, and then Kane showed other direct messages from the people who Theft talked to on Twitter who shared their experience with. Kane Carter's video brought light to many issues that Theft had, and several of Theft's friends cut ties with Theft after sharing their own sides of the story and how the story is manipulated to displaying Kane Carter in a bad light, and this further damaged Theft's career. Tricon 1980's FNAF banner. This infamous FNAF image was used by several news media outlets and was originally made by DeviantArt user Tricon 1980, and I think the reason it's on this iceberg is because a lot of the media outlets incorrectly attributed this image's origin to Scott Cawthon. What can we use? WhatCanWeUse.jpg was a picture on ScottGames.com to tease FNAF 3. And there was a lot in the image to pick apart, and people went wild with it, and it features Springtrap, Toy Bonnie, Balloon Boy, Foxy's hook, Bonnie's guitar, Freddy's hat, Chica, and Mangle. Newspaper Easter eggs. Newspapers in the first 3 games contain trivia about the development process, like Foxy being designed on the bumpy car ride. These facts are all blurred out, as the edges of the screen, when showing FNAF Pizzeria advertisement, are blurred to bring more attention to the advertisement. Nightmare Foxy's tongue. In Foxy's teaser leading up to FNAF 4's release, Foxy's face is close up with his mouth open and hook raised. The only thing different on this teaser is Foxy's design of having a metallic tentacle-like tongue. Scott said he cut Foxy's tongue in the final game due to it being hard to animate. Old Man Consequences. This is a character which appears in FNAF World and later appeared in Ultimate Custom Night. He sits by a lake and does the activity of fishing. And Old Man Consequences is a pixelated character with a solid color of red and has what seems to be the mouth of a crocodile or alligator. And they show up in the 4th layer of the flip side, and they say the phrase, "Come and sit with me a while, leave the demon to his demons, rest your own soul, there is nothing else." This is the way to get the drowned ending. Old Man Consequences later appeared in the game Ultimate Custom Night as a character who would make you catch a fish. If you failed, he would disable your monitor for a while. Original Pizza Simulator jump scares. Like Springtrap Situation, when FNAF 6 released, the jump scares were lackluster. People said all they did was lean into the protagonist's camera, and Scott had updated those, and the old jump scares are left in the files. Original Help Wanted teaser. This was a teaser where it is similar to the FNAF VR box art, but there are slight differences. Nightmarian is replaced by a fan creation of Spring Bonnie, and Funktime Foxy was there, but they were a fan render. This spawned anger in the community, and Steel Wool eventually changed it to the characters previously mentioned. Panstand missing from Ultimate Custom Night. Unlike the other members of the Trash in the Gang, whether it be an actual enemy like Mr. Candu, Bucket Bob, Number 1 Crate, or simply a cameo like Mr. Hugs, Panstan is seemingly completely missing from the entire game. There was no reason for the exclusion. Phone Guy in FNAF 4. At random intervals in FNAF 4, you can hear muffled speaking very faintly in the background. This is deepened and reversed version of the FNAF 1 Phone Guy call. This makes it one of the only games Scott's voice was in. Pink Guy. Pink Guy is a supposed character that appears in FNAF 2 in the minigame Easter Eggs, and we can tell he's a different character from the colors of the sprite, his being pinker and the other purple guy sprites appearing in other minigames. Many people don't actually believe in a different character is very similar to Afton, as it just could be an error on Scott's part. Princess Quest. Princess Quest is an in-universe video game franchise that appears in both the mobile port of Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted and Security Breach. In the Help Wanted mobile port, the minigame can be accessed from the Freddy Fazbear Virtual Experience's main hub room. In Security Breach, it can be accessed through an arcade closet. Purple Guy animatronic. A short while after Five Nights at Freddy's 2's release, there was a hoax going around in the FNAF community, and it was a Purple Guy animatronic in the office slumped over just like Withered Golden Freddy. The hoax would supposedly, for a split second in the office, appear. People quickly caught on that it was a hoax, and the body was just Withered Golden Freddy's body, but purple. Return to Freddy's is a long-running FNAF fan game series released by Tyler Ahlstrom, starting from December 2nd, 2014, with a game named Five Nights at Freddy's 3, a game where it reused numerous textures from FNAF 1 and 2, and the game got rebranded into Five Nights at Freddy's 3 fan-made and then Return to Freddy's Classic. Later games in the series, like Return to Freddy's 2, had Tyler Ahlstrom create his own models and textures as such, including Lockjaw, Doug the Dog, and Kitty Fazcat. In the original volume, that being the TRTF Classic, TRTF 2, 3, and 4 were originally going to be remastered by Colin Miller in partnership with Krea Studios, but they were all cancelled. Scott's VIP list. In the Scott Cawthon interview done by Daco, Scott mentions that he has a VIP list on his computer, and he has only special people on there, which get his games early. The one confirmed member so far is Daco, as Scott mentioned it in the interview, and some people in the community have theorized that similar people to Daco are on the list, such as Markiplier, MatPat, and DJ Sturf. Security Breach Fury's Rage. This was a game released by Scott to keep FNAF fans entertained while Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach was still in development. The point of this game was to be a beat-em-up style game using anthropomorphic versions of the main Glamrock animatronics to beat up several anthropomorphic versions of other characters from the franchise. SecurityBreachTV.com. This is a website which was created by Steel Wool, and it was updated to showcase the new episodes of Freddy and Friends on Tour, and it was also updated to add Easter eggs to the other characters or add new decorations on either the table or on the smaller screens around the main one. Shadow BB. This was a hoax that spread that was about a shadow version of BB. It was said that it only appeared on the mobile version of FNAF 2 and would crash your game, similar to Shadow Freddy and RWQFSFAXSC. Showbiz Pizza images and Help Wanted. In the Help Wanted files, a hidden image of an endoskeleton head from Showbiz Pizza Place was grayscaled and had a weird filter on it, and the FNAF community says that the image was taken with an iPhone 6s Plus. Speed edits. There are some YouTubers who are dedicated to making edits of characters either to fix them or to change the animatronic type to make them seem different or to make some completely new characters. And a lot of these channels have gained a lot of subscribers, such as Alexander133 and Weirdo Speed, and the most famous being GoMotion. Springtrap jump scare hate. When the FNAF 3 was released, people were saying it wasn't that scary, and they said this because of Springtrap's jump scare, as all he does is lean in. The Phantom animatronics weren't that mentioned, but people were still unhappy, and fans were telling Scott to update Springtrap's jump scare to make it scarier, but he never did. Steel Wool interview. This is a video by Dawko where he interviewed two people from the development of Security Breach, and Dawko asked a lot of questions about the layouts of Pizzaplex and if there are any recurring or new characters. Sunglasses. Apparently there are FNAF-themed sunglasses you can buy, and they are well known for being trashy and low quality. The FNAF Show. This was a series split up into two different seasons done by Dawko, where he would interview many FNAF voice actors such as Kellen Goff, Joe Gotta, and PJ Haywood, and they would all have voiced one or more characters in the FNAF series, and Dawko has discontinued this series and has not brought it back. The Freddy Files. The updated edition errors. Basically, the second release of Freddy Files had way more typos and misinformation compared to the first one. The Immortal and the Restless. The Immortal and the Restless was a fictional animated soap opera in sister location watched by Michael Afton every night after work, except at night 3, and it follows an arguing couple of a male vampire and a human wife arguing over who their baby belongs to, and the vampire saying it's not his, with it clearly having fangs and wings. Toxic Meter. An unused texture in the FNAF 2 files shows a bar with the word toxic above it, and this is thought to have been used when having the mask on to stop camping from other animatronics, and you will die slowly from the toxicity. This is probably unused in the end due to the addition of the marionette or puppet, since you have to wind their music box. Toy Chica The High School Years. Toy Chica The High School Years is one of the anime sections or intermissions in Ultimate Custom Night. It is in the style of a high school type anime following Toy Chica starting the day at high school with a new crush after the previous one didn't work out, and her methods trying to win over her crush have become more extreme after each episode. It is heavily implied that each crush is murdered in some fashion, and this could be symbolized in the murders of the children in FNAF 1 done by William Afton. Trash and the Gang. This was a group of characters which appeared in Pizzeria Simulator, and you probably guessed by the name that they are made of trash. Their names are Bucket Bob, Pan Stan, Mr. Can Do, Number 1 Crate, and Mr. Hugs. The three characters were actually going to be in three different character slots but got combined into one, making room for more characters. Twisted Chica. This was a scrapped animatronic which was said to have appeared in the novel The Twisted Ones, along with the other twisted animatronics, and there is no mention of this character in the books or teasers, thus believed to be scrapped by Scott. The only mentions we get of this is a Funko Pop of the character, along with a piece of artwork made by Lady Fitzy. The Pop had originally used an early design of Twisted Chica, as that was the only art of the character which we had seen at that point, and Funko had then realized this and made another using the current design we all have probably seen. Unused special delivery emails. Special delivery has some emails that went unused or scrapped, and many of them actually animatronic shipment emails, while the majority are emails containing Louis and Vanessa's story, along with the spread of the circuit board virus. Vanessa Afton. A theory that was conjured up saying that Vanessa from Security Breach is a member of the Afton household. Some people thought this as her last name is seen as having an A at the beginning. This is not confirmed or denied. Vanny in the Glam Rock Freddy teaser. In the second variation of the Glam Rock Freddy rock teaser, you can see a silhouette representing Vanny holding a sharp knife upon the giant window. This was used to tease the main villain of the upcoming game, Security Breach, and many people had actually thought this to be Malhair, otherwise known as Glitchtrap, because of the humanoid rabbit costume with the knife. 3 teasers late, the silhouette was revealed in its own teaser with a text stating, "Obey." Weird Gacha Life videos. Gacha Life is an app where people can create avatars of real people or fictional characters and roleplay them in specific situations and stories. Now obviously, there will be some Gacha Life videos on Five Nights at Freddy's. Some can be utterly harmless, but some can be weird and non-advertiser friendly. Will Hell versus Mike Hell. These are two separate theories about who Ultimate Custom Night is actually for, whether it be William or Michael. The likely verdict is William, due to him having more of a criminal past with Fazbear Entertainment and Afton Robotics. The only reason it could be Michael is that he caused the bite of 83. XOR. XOR is a monochrome version of DD in Ultimate Custom Night. When they do appear, they will glitch all across the bottom of the screen, in which a garbled version of the original DD voice lines play in the background. Instead of spawning only one of the bonus characters like the regular DD, they would instead spawn all of the 6, and XOR is most well known to appear in 50/20 mode, but can rarely appear at any time outside of 50/20 mode. U2's presents Five Nights at Freddy's. U2's Presents Five Nights at Freddy's is an augmented reality mobile game developed by U2's. It's similar to another game, FNAF AR Special Delivery, but instead of animatronics, it's the glam rock U2's figures released by U2's and also Dako. The player stars as a U2's employee trying to ship out figures, and the player must save up their dwindling power supply and survive until 6 a.m. when the toys are scheduled to be picked up. And at first, the box's top will open and animatronics will come out of the box and move around the area. If the player is jump scared, the screen will turn to static, and a GIF of the jump scare and a photograph will serve as the game over screen. Alright, and that's the end of Tier 2. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to, like, comment, subscribe, etc. Tell me what you thought of the video. Tell me what icebergs you're interested to hear after I'm done with this iceberg. We have, let's see, 3. How many tiers are this to this iceberg? There's got to be like 8. There are 11 tiers, but the last one's just jokes. I'll probably still do it. As the tiers go on, there are like less and less entries, so the videos, I should be able to combine tiers into videos, and of course, at the end of the series, all the tiers will be released in just one super long video, but they're also available for you to watch for the individual tiers. Tier 3 will also be one giant video. So, like I said, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.